I really debated for a little while about even making this video. And I'll try and, trying to create a video about the year 2020 is tough enough, but to get everything, I mean, we'll see what I can do. But essentially, I've talked about some stuff in the past, so I'll try and glimpse past those as I mention them. But essentially the way I see it is the year 2020 started off insane, the Australia was essentially on fire, and now it's the year from being everyone's on fire, or everything's on fire, to now everyone's about to get a vaccine, more or less, from COVID-19, which I'll talk about in a second. But as for me personally, the pandemic impacted me a lot, professionally, personally, as well as romantically. And I say that because the pandemic more or less fucked up a lot of those things. At the time of its starting, the pandemic, I was trying to actively move up in my job, as I mentioned before. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they had to cut me. They had to furlough me, lay me off, fire me, whatever the fucking terminology you want to use for it. I haven't been called back, so I'm assuming I'm never going to come back, which is fine with me. But it was an industry that I really cared about, which is the radio industry. And of course, now, since I've been doing the 69 Whiskey podcast, which you can check out down in the description below, you can kind of get a taste of what I love to do, and that's talking about stuff, entertaining people. The podcast is very raunchy, more or less, and in a sense, there's a lot of things that we can't talk about on radio that we can talk about on the podcast. So that alone, makes me pretty happy, and alone makes me enjoy podcasting a lot more than radio to begin with, as much as I did enjoy it and as good as I was at it. Romantically, yeah, it threw everything out the window, dude. Not gonna lie, and I'm gonna try and keep this as fair as I possibly can and as non-biased. My ex-girlfriend's a cunt. She was a very selfish cunt, and I'm not gonna name names, but all I'm gonna say is, me breaking up with her, thank God for the pandemic in a sense, because me breaking up with her was a fucking godsend. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, because good lord, if I had to deal with her for the rest of my life, I would have made the greatest mistake of my life. That's all I'm going to say about that. Personally, I did endure some, depression, some thoughts I thought I passed on from, and I essentially coped with that through YouTube. I said before, and I'll say it again, when the pandemic started, I knew from the get-go that everyone was going to be on the internet. Companies were going to profit off shit like the internet, which is fair, because how else were we going to survive a lot of this? So essentially me making videos helped me a lot personally, because it gave me something to do after I was let go from my job, after the woman I thought was the love of my life, but thank God I dodged the bullet, broke up with me. I just found an escape. So that's why I love that, and I always really loved doing YouTube, but this year it essentially kept me from doing anything very drastic and hasty and probably regretful, more or less. So, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos as well that I've been making throughout the course of the year, because I have been making a lot of them, and this year has by far been my most successful, if I'm being 100% honest with you. So, thank you all, and I greatly appreciate everything you've done in that regard. I'll talk about the schooling stuff, dude, because my sister is studying to be a teacher, and she's experienced like student teaching and stuff like that, and what it's like to do a quarantine classroom, more or less. And it's really tough, man. When I was like in kindergarten, first grade, I can't imagine what it would have been like, doing classes on the internet like we are now. It's tough, and it's sad to see. And even my brother, he spent the second half, more or less, of his senior year of high school at home, which sucks because he couldn't see his friends. He couldn't, and he's like a very popular guy in his grade, so he couldn't see his friends. He was the mascot for the high school, and he was really good at that shit too. So obviously any sports that he would have taken part of in that regard. He was also trying to do lacrosse, couldn't do that either. So it was tough. So seeing him graduate, at least I got to see him graduate, which is good. And it's kind of sad too that he's spent the entire first semester of his time in college at home, which to me, college made me more social. High school made me antisocial. College made me much more social. So I can only imagine what type of stud he would be in terms of what it's like, what he'd be in college, but that's yet to be seen. That has yet to be seen. So this is the part of the video I'm going to be debating about, talking about, but I'm going to try and tread carefully, more or less, because it involves a lot of social commentary. And essentially, the only thing I will say is this. There's a lot of pieces of shit in this world. I've seen that through a job venture I had a few months ago, doing sales in a Walmart for a company that tried to actively fuck me over. And I saw the type of people that were shopping at a Walmart, and now I see why people shit on Walmart all the time. So there are people that are pieces of shit in this world that are... It doesn't matter what color, what religion, what type. It just matters what type of person you are. Because I can guarantee you, as much as there's a lot of bottom of the barrel people in this world, there are also much, much more better ones. I'd like to think I'm one of them, because when I did that sales job in a Walmart, I talked to everybody. Well, I was kind of forced to because it was my job, but I talked to everybody. I talked to Indians, black people, white people, Hispanics, trying to talk Spanish horribly, but I tried nonetheless. And a lot of them were nice. Many of them were nice. Others were pieces of shit, but I encountered a lot more pleasant ones than I did bad people. And that's all I'm going to say about that. The moral of this part of the commentary is just stop being a piece of shit, regardless of what the color of your skin is, or what type of, who you pray to, or other aspects in life, and who you fucking vote for. That's another one. Fucking politics in this country is beyond fucking pathetic. Regardless of who you thought should have won the election, the way I see it is you all got played. And as far as I'm concerned, political wise, I'm so glad I consider myself to be a centrist, because as far as I'm concerned, people that blindly support one side over another for whatever fucking reason it is, to me, I find it as pathetic, and I find it as a weak mind where people feel like they have to be led as opposed to trying to lead themselves. So that's as much as I'm going to say about that. Don't be a piece of shit and don't be a sheep. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I know maybe it sounds like some people will say based, red-pilled, shit like that. I call it logical, because I've lived a life, and 2020 has taught me one thing, and that is to be an alpha. Not regardless of sex, be an alpha male or an alpha female. The way I see it is, be the best man or woman you can be, and in the process of, whatever you consider that to be is your doing. But the way I see it is just being a fucking badass in everything you do. Don't fucking quit. Don't be the norm, so to speak. And when you do that, make sure you elevate others around you. That is my idea of being an alpha. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on stuff like this, but to me, that's my opinion of what it means and what it takes to be an alpha male or female. Be the best you can be, regardless of your gender or whatever shit that people are trying to spew on you nowadays. And in doing so, elevate others around you, so that not only you feel great, but others around you feel the same way. And that's how I go into 2021, because there's a lot of great things I have planned for 2021, whether it's for the channel, whether it's professionally, whether it regards the podcast and stuff like that. But all I gotta say is this: I look forward to the next year. I'm glad that this year is finally over. This year taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about people in general. And I hope that this year taught you something, and that you can go into 2021 with hopefully a much more positive outlook. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace out. and follow me on all the social media links down below.